That's right. New York. It's 1958. Anyway, for a few more minutes it is. Come midnight, it's gonna be 1959. A whole nother feeling. The new year. The future. Yeah, old Daddy Earth fixing to start one more trip round the sun. Everybody hoping this ride round be a little more giddy, a little more gay. Yep, all over town, champagne coaches are popping. Over in the Waldorf, the big shots is dancing to the strings of Guy Lombardo. Down in Times Square, the little folks is watching and waiting for that big ball to drop. They're all trying to catch hold of one moment of time. To be able to say, right now, this is it. I got it. Of course, by then it'll be past.
Welcome to the Perfect Movie Podcast, the podcast where we answer the question, is this a perfect movie? I'm Michael.
I'm Kalen.
And today, we are starting our 3-part end of year 2023 movie bonanza. It's December 31st, which is a good day to do this, because literally right in under the deadline, you know?
Seriously. We're procrastinating. Holy shit.
Say it again.
This is why, man. This is why we fuck up. We are procrastinators. And,
Procrastinators.
Good job. Starting off strong.
Thank you. So anyways, we're going to do a 3-part series, I think. So our first part will be sort of our honorable mentions, our movies that didn't quite make our end-of-year best lists. Episode 2 will be our end-of-year top lists of the year, our favorite movies of the year. And then our third section will be the worst movies of the year, and also maybe a little just discussion about the general state of movies in 2023.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of ground to cover. So why don't we get into it?
Let's get to business.
And I want to start by looking even further back into 2022, because that was our first year doing an end-of-year list on a podcast. We were talking a little bit about this year versus last year. And I think we came out on different ends on like what do we think about this year and what do we think about last year? Like last year I think there's a few movies in it that I really enjoyed and will be like favorites that I've returned to. And this year for me, and I think maybe because I was had this end of year thing kind of in mind the whole year. Maybe it's just me being a little more diligent on watching more things.
Yeah, you're definitely like cranking them out.
It's true.
One after one. You did better than I did, that's for sure.
Yeah, I went pretty in depth, but I feel like this year compared to last year, there's just so many more movies that I enjoyed. There might not be quite as many that I enjoyed to like that nth maximum degree.
Right.
But there's like I have a list of 10 favorites and then I have a list of 16 honorable mentions. And I'm like, a lot of these movies could have made the list and are very close to making like a top 10 list. Yeah. And I watched your boy Chris Stuckman's end of year top 10.
Oh yeah.
And he
my boy.
It's your boy. And he extended his top 10 into a top 15.
Yeah.
Because there were so many good movies this year.
Yeah.
So I think this year,
I think a lot of stuff got overshadowed by some of the bigger names that came out this year. It was a pretty big year for blockbusters. I'm thinking notably Oppenheimer and Barbie that came out in the same week, which overshadowed a lot of different films. I know that the Last Voyage of the Demeter came out like literally I think the same week. Nobody talked about that film. It wasn't the best film ever made, but yeah, that got overshadowed. I think a bunch of other ones that were kind of leading into the fall got really overshadowed too because people were still talking about Barbie and Oppenheimer. But yeah,
This is a movie that, yeah, there's been some big ones, but also I think it was very notable for the things that didn't make it. Just about outside of the 2 superhero movies that are going to be on my best list, basically every other superhero movie flopped.
Yeah.
The Flash, The Blue Beetle,
I mean, an Aquaman movie just came out.
and
Nobody's talking about.
big flop. All the DC movies flopped. Every Marvel movie flopped, basically, except for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
It was just a bad year for superheroes. I think people all together said, we're done with this cape shit. We don't want to see it no more.
Or we want to see it in a different light. We want to see it done a little bit differently. I think everybody is like anxiously anticipating the next season of The Boys, which is like, I mean, they're just so anti-superhero to begin with. So
It's literally a show about a gang of people who murder superheroes because superheroes suck. All right, so I'm going to kick off the honorable mentions portion of the show. Let's just get right to it. This is just going to be boys reading lists. Hey, buddy, you ever read a list? This is a cousin of a favorite game I play with other people, but you're not much of a sports guy, which is, hey, name that guy, when you just guys sit around and name like athletes. Except we're doing name movies. So I'm going to kick it off with a movie I actually ended up watching this morning because I'm an insomniac and was getting another one in before the deadline.
I'm hats off to you. You're really
Thank you.
You're on your shit.
Thank you. I've been putting in work down in the movie mines. And this morning I watched a movie I enjoyed a lot, and I almost wanted to put it in my top 10, but I was like, I can't be a prisoner of the moment. It's called The Burial. It's on Prime, and it stars Jamie Foxx and Tommy Lee Jones. And it's about, like, it's a courtroom drama kind of. Jamie Foxx plays this really, like, showy trial lawyer. Tommy Lee Jones is this down on the luck funeral home runner, and they have this lawsuit against this bigwig who tried to screw over Tommy Lee Jones.
That's why we asking for you to look in your hearts and your souls and award him that mere $75 million. You know why? They got it. They got it. They got the bank to do it. But they know they big, trying to step on the small man. And then you say, well, why $75 million, Willie Gary? I'm going to tell you why. Because we have the evidence. The evidence will prove that there was negligence. Because No Good Clovis had one thing going good for him at that time. Even though he was drunk, tank, tore up from the floor up, depressed and suicidal, my no good client Clovis Tubbs had him a green light.
And let me tell you, between They Clone Tyrone and this, Jamie Foxx has some of the funniest lines of the year.
Yeah.
There's this one line, he meets this guy, this young lawyer named Al, and like he meets Al, and then he meets him a couple weeks later. He's like, dang, Al, you look good. You looking younger. You want some Dorian Gray shit? So it's like pretty by the books, like feel good, like almost maybe a little, because there's some like, it's also in southern Mississippi in the late 90s. The OJ trial is literally happening on TV while this is happening. So there's like some racial stuff in it. It also stars Journey Smollett, Jussie's sister, apparently. Okay. Remember Jussie Smollett?
Yeah.
Did I get a hate crime or did I not?
Juicy. That was a Dave Chappelle bit where he was like, I don't know how you get robbed by a nigga named Juicy.
Anyways, it's pretty good. It's pretty by the numbers. It's pretty like inoffensive. It's like a movie you can show your parents, but it's a good time, and Jamie Foxx is hilarious in it. Really funny, really good.
Jamie Foxx, underrated actor.
Yeah, this year I came around, and I mean I also watched Django because you rented me on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I've obviously already seen Django, but like Jamie Foxx, underrated.
Have you seen the movie Ray? I know you're not really into the biopics, but he killed the character of Ray Charles, and he's also a singer. Just a very talented guy. So yeah, hats off to Jamie.
You know, for a long time until Will Smith slapped the shit out of Chris Rock, Will Smith was up ahead in the race between who's the most multi-talented musician / actor in Hollywood. Is it Will Smith?
Is it Ice Cube?
No.
It Ludacris? Is it Luda?
But Jamie Foxx, I think, has taken that baton and ran with it, and he's likable.
And he's a cool dude. I don't mean to go way off on this, but so did you see the thing? I think it was last year. It was pretty not far after the Chris Rock Will Smith incident where Dave Chappelle got attacked on stage. and they beat the shit out of this guy. One of the guys that was beating the shit out of him was Jamie Foxx, because Jamie Foxx was on that stage too, and this dude was just getting mollywopped by a bunch
funny.
of fucking comedians. It was pretty hilarious.
Imagine getting curb stomped by a comedian. Can't feel good. They say something funny while they do it too.
I think they had a video of the guy afterwards, and his face was swollen. I think they broke his arm, and his arm was just like hanging. It was fucking crazy. But yeah, don't attack comedians, please.
I'm gonna do another quick one when I won't have as much to say. How to blow up a pipeline. It's like a really low budget, really like anarchist. Like it's literally about a bunch of people who are pissed off at this oil company that are gonna blow up this pipeline. It's our array of our multicultural mystery team assembles in the desert to build a bomb, and then one redneck who everybody's like, what's up with this guy? Turns out he's got a good backstory too. It's very like bare bones, but one of the most tense scenes in the whole like of this year to me is the scene where this one kid is cooking the explosives.
Listen, if I touch or even jostle this primer too much, it could detonate. I need you to take this. Stand 20 yards back. If anything goes wrong, then don't come in unless I tell you to. Unless you see fire. Don't come in. Got it.
Very tense. And then another scene where they're trying to attach this like barrel of explosives to the bottom of the pipeline, and things go wrong, and a person's foot gets smashed.
The American government is watching this movie and taking notes.
It's based on a book, which isn't a novel. It's like the Anarchist Cookbook. It's how to blow up a pipeline. It's like literal instructions. And then they translated that book into a narrative.
Gotcha. Any notable actors?
No, it's a lot of like not famous people as far as I can tell. It was a really low budget movie. Didn't get a wide release. Wonder why. Just Googling it puts you on a watch list.
Yeah, it would be like, yeah, that's kind of sketchy. So I have a movie. This one is a animated flick. It's the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and it came out earlier this year. It stars Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, Jack Black, Michael Key from Key and Peele. He's in it too. It's a pretty solid like animated flick. It's not the greatest story ever. But I mean, it's like, what do you expect from a Super Mario's movie?
I was actually surprised at how many Super Mario like member berries and like ideas were put in all at once. I thought they were like they're gonna save some for the sequel, but no, we do Mario Kart.
But I feel like there's no getting around that though. It's more forgiving than like Star Wars. You know?
No, I know. I'm saying that as a positive. Like I actually enjoyed some of that stuff, or like when they did, he starts running and then it like tilts to side view, so it looks like a Mario.
Yeah. Were
map.
you an NES kid growing up? Or like
No, not really. I don't have a lot of like attachment to the Mario games themselves outside of like I played a lot of Smash Bros with friends.
I know, like back in the day, me and my brothers, we would like I would stay up all night with them, watching them play Super Mario Bros. And like playing like Mario Kart and all that kind of shit. So yeah, fond memories. Super Mario Bros. Pretty basic plot. Mario is not saving Peach like in the video games, because Peach is an independent woman.
That's right.
And she's doing her own thing. Girls get it done. And Jack Black as Bowser, he's great. I don't think he won a Grammy, but he was nominated for a Grammy for the song Peaches. Big year for movie songs, because I know the Barbie movie, the Ken song, got a Grammy, I believe, or something, or it's nominated for one. Pretty fun movie if you want to just turn your brain off and watch something goofy. And Seth Rogen plays Donkey Kong, which is kind of goofy.
Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong, and Jack Black as Bowser. Pretty great casting decisions.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt as Mario, whatever. Charlie Day as Luigi, like it.
People were really upset about the Chris Pratt playing Mario thing, which was surprising to me. I'm like, who cares? Mario doesn't even really talk to begin with.
Well, I think they were just like, he's supposed to talk like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's also racist.
It's also, it'd be really annoying for a movie.
It's a Mario, the entire movie. No.
That works when your character just says like, wahoo!
Well, I thought it was clever because they had him doing that voice during, like, he was shooting a commercial for his plumbing business.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of clever. just to kind of throw in that little motto.
We're the Mario Brothers, and plumbing's a game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. When your sink is in trouble, you could call us on the double. We're faster than the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers.
It's me, Mario.
And the Luigi.
Are you tired of paying too much for plumbing? Mamma mia! That's why the Super Mario Brothers are here to save Brooklyn
And the Queens.
and your wallet.
Thank you, Super Mario Bros. It seems like the only thing you haven't drained is my bank account.
Forget the expensive plumbing companies where you're just a face. With the Super Mario Brothers, you're family.
The brothers.
Wow, you were great.
I was great. Are you kidding me? You were great.
I am so glad we spent our life savings on this commercial.
That is not a commercial. That is cinema.
What about the accents? Is it too much?
Too much. It's perfect. Wahoo!
Okay, I'm gonna trust you.
Well.
Yeah, nothing really to write home about. I thought it was fun. I thought it was well made. I thought the animation was gorgeous. So yeah, I think it's on Peacock. Watch it if you get the chance. If you're into Mario,
It's on Netflix right now.
It is on Netflix too. Yeah, so it's on multiple streaming services. Check it out if you get the chance.
One I've already talked about a lot, so I want to get it out the way is Reality. It's short. It's tense. It's the true story of a woman that was arrested by the government, and the entire movie is taken from the recording device of the actual arrest. So it's like very close to reality.
Yeah.
I've talked about it on one of our recap episodes, I think, so I'm not going to harp on it anymore. Sid Sweeney's in it, everybody's lady crush, so there's that.
Okay, well, the reason we're here today is that we have a search warrant for your house.
Okay.
All right. Do you know what this might be about?
I have no idea.
Okay. This is about possible mishandling of classified information.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Me and my fiance were watching it, and we were very it was very intense in certain moments. She liked it a lot too, and yeah, it was just like an interesting. I've never really seen a film quite like it.
Because it's so like nonchalant, like
Yeah.
it's not theatrical. It's like people hanging out in those awkward moments,
Right.
and like just that sort of like tension is built from just the hanging around and the
Yeah.
like we're talking around it and we're not really getting to it till like 45 minutes into the
Right.
movie.
Right.
You know.
Big year for her too.
Big year for Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney's, I mean, she's out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say Oppenheimer. I know we trashed Oppenheimer a lot. Oppenheimer's fine. It's a
well-made movie.
It's a good movie. It's not on my top list.
Also, one that we kind of talked about before, Asteroid City, a Wes Anderson joint. Not my favorite Wes Anderson movie. I was kind of like not bored by it, but it was very pretentious, and it was kind of like it made me roll my eyes a lot, especially the scene with Willem Dafoe. You know what scene I'm talking about?
The sleeping scene?
Yeah. That scene made me roll my eyes, and then the scene with the kids playing that game.
Yes, the kids playing that, yes. Both those scenes are the ones where, like, I actually rewatched it recently now, and I was watching it in the first, 15 minutes. I was like, this movie's so lovely.
Yeah.
It's so well, as far as beautiful movies, this might be the most beautiful movie of the year. It's gorgeously shot, and all the setting is beautiful, and it's quirky and funny, and then it just gets up its own ass, and everybody's got that classic Wes Anderson delivery where everybody's just a little bit monotone, and you just don't get hooked into it, and the story's a little all over the place.
Chapter 1. I walked to school 18 miles each morning, milked the goats, plucked the chickens, played hooky, caught fireflies, went skinny dipping in the watering hole, said my prayers every night, and got whipped with a maple switch twice a week. That was life. Chapter 2. My father went off to fight in the war to end all wars. It didn't, and what was left of him came back in a pine box with a flag on top. End of chapter 2. Next, I went to officer school, and 20 years passed at the speed of a dream. A wife, a son, a daughter, a poodle. Chapter 3, another war. Arms and legs blown off like popcorn. Eyeballs gouged out figuratively and literally. The men put on shows under the palm fronds, dressed as women in hula skirts. That was life. In the meantime, somebody else's story. A man thinks up a number, divides it by 1 trillion, plugs it into the square root of the circumference of the Earth, multiplied by the speed of a splitting atom, and voila, progress. I'm not a scientist. You are. End of chapter 3. Junior stargazers and space cadets, we watch transfixed as you enter into uncharted territories of the brains and spirit. If you wanted to live a nice, quiet, peaceful life, you picked the wrong time to get born. That's my speech. Be notified you are each the guardian of your own safety. Maintain alert caution throughout the following demonstrations.
Well, I think I fucked up because I watched Grand Budapest, and then we did our episode on that right before I watched Asteroid City. Because I was excited. I was like, wow, Wes Anderson, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Check out more of his stuff. Asteroid City was coming out. I was like, fuck it. And yeah, it didn't do the same for me. Although I do think the alien scene was really well done. That was a great scene.
I think the alien scene's really cool. Yeah, there's standout moments. There's a bunch of great moments, but it also between there's a lot of filler and just like stuff that doesn't seem to go anywhere. And like I thought it was cool, like conceptually, that scene where it's near the end, kind of a spoiler for Asteroid City, but who cares? You can watch it if you need to. It is available on streaming. Where our main character just goes, I still don't understand why he burned his hand, and just. It's like in the middle of the movie, and the movie is this play, and then he just like walks through a back door of the scenery and wanders backstage and just like kind of like exits the movie. And I just love the thought of that. And then he has this talk with Margot Robbie on a balcony.
It's all beautiful.
It's all like beautiful visually, but it's almost like out of nothing. Because I still I've watched it twice, and I still am like, what did that all have to do with anything?
Yeah.
And
that's where I was going back to like Wes Anderson was kind of just up his own ass in this. He was just kind of doing whatever. I'm fine with that because I think it's warranted for him. He can kind of do whatever he wants.
But oh my god, the way the camera moves and the way like it's magical. Just like I don't know when it's miniatures and when it's like forced perspective and when they're doing, but they do all these whip pans and when it's edits and like if you can trick me and I'm really going like, wow, how'd they put this all together? Because I'm like, it's really magical and detailed and everything. Like every moment is so detailed. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed by the underuse of Steve Carell.
Oh, yeah.
Well. I feel like Steve Carell should be the protagonist in a Wes Anderson film.
That's his first Wes Anderson movie, and he's good in a Wes Anderson part. His like deadpan humor is perfect for it.
Yeah, I was like, he needs his own movie.
And you know, Wes Anderson has so much pull. You know who was supposed to be Tom Hanks' character?
Who's that?
It was a Wes Anderson regular. It was supposed to be Bill Murray.
Oh, really?
Bill Murray gets COVID. He can't start... Shit. And you can just call up Tom fucking Hanks.
I know, that's crazy. Well, that's like in Grand Budapest, with that scene where it's like all the concierges or whatever, they're all getting called in and stuff, and it's just all these. I'm like, holy shit! I've never seen this like culmination of so many big names in one film.
You have Owen crazy. Wilson show up to do like 6 lines.
Yeah, it was like the Wes Anderson equivalent to the Avengers Endgame, you know. But yeah, Asteroid City, it's still a very well made film. Definitely check it out. It's on streaming again.
Barbie is a honorable mention for me. Is it on your main list?
It's on my main list.
Okay, we can talk about it later then.
Okay.
We'll talk about this more later, but Beau is Afraid is an honorable mention for me. And I think you helped me because you told me before I ever watched it that it ends with a giant penis monster. So I was watching
Spoiler!
So I was watching this entire movie just knowing like it's not that deep. Or like it is that deep, but it's also like a big joke at the same time.
Yes.
And it's kind of the same as my Asteroid City review, where it's like it's really beautiful and detailed, but it's a little up its own ass.
See, I would say this is the best looking film of the year.
This one?
Yes, it's up there.
I'd say Asteroid City, but both are like wonderful, and there's a lot of wonderful sequences. Like, are you talking about like especially when they go in the forest
with the whole play thing, and just like I think there was like watercolors being used, and it was gorgeous. But yeah, that was about it for me.
Were you referring to the 12-foot penis monster in the attic?
What do you mean?
Was that the most beautiful part of?
Yes. Okay.
That
was the part that really stuck with me the most.
No, the part that stuck me with the most is when they start playing Mariah Carey. Non-spoilers for everyone else.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a really great Joaquin Phoenix performance. It's so like it's just a big swing, which I respect and I like. But at the end of the day, I was like, I cannot put this movie on my favorites list. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but there's a lot to admire.
I put it in one of the worst films of the year.
Mhm.
I have a lot of issues with it. I don't know if we want to get into it all right now. But
No, we will do that later. Let's stick with the mostly positive things.
Okay.
But I do think it's a divisive movie. And I heard one funny story. Some critic was talking about it. This was at like a pre-screening, and it's kind of normal at these like pre-screenings and like festival screenings that like if people like the movie, they'll applaud. So at the end of the movie, the guy goes, "Not one of you better fucking applaud."
That was me. I said that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you know what? You'll just get fucked up with me.
I'm supposed to be leaving.
So you'll be fucked up.
I feel really, really bad right now. Please.
So what? You can come into my life and sleep in my bed and steal my fucking parents, but you can't get fucking fucked up with me?
No, I'm not trying to steal anything, I swear.
No, you've already blown it. You failed your stupid test.
What?
Everyone pretend you're some sad old orphan makes me puke.
Wait, what do you mean? I'm sorry. Please. I'll leave. I'll do whatever you want, but what does that mean? What do you mean about
I'm
that?
not asking you to leave. I'm asking you to fucking drink this fucking pain with me.
Tony, please.
Don't call me Tony.
I'm sorry I thought it was your name.
It is my name. It's my name.
Wait, what do you mean when you said that about the test? What does that mean?
I don't care.
I think it's very ambitious.
Yeah.
It dark, like it wanted to. I thought Ari Aster was being very up his own ass in this. I rolled my eyes a lot. I think the first half is like a masterpiece.
My review of Ari Aster's relationship with the mother characters in his life is 1 star.
Yeah, man, somebody's got to talk to him. He needs some help. Whatever happened in your past, dude, like we're here for you.
Are you okay?
Yeah, seriously.
Are you okay?
Just his portrayal of women in general. I mean, they're all kind of like, I don't know, just unhinged is what I'll say. Yeah, Bo's. So, I mean, I do think it's a very well-made film. It's bizarre as fuck. That's really all I can say about it. It's super bizarre. You either get it or you don't. I was kind of in the middle. I kind of got what they were trying to do, but it didn't. I just like, whatever. Okay, we didn't really need to do all this.
Did that need to be 3 hours?
Right. I think the first half was fantastic.
It's like an episodic, like
it's an
Odyssey. So like it is very. We're at this point, like it's kind of transitions between like 3 or 4 or 5 different movies within it. So there are definitely parts where like depending on who you are, your interest may drop out.
Right.
It might be when the one daughter's drinking paint.
See, I liked all that.
I know. That's hilarious. And he's like, no, stop.
Or when she forces him to smoke a blunt in the car.
Yeah.
It was intense, though. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? And the lady from The Office makes an appearance. Michael's wife down the road in The Office series. She was great in it. A lot of great performances. I'll get into it more in our next episode, but yeah. I have one.
Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I don't know if you would agree with me on this. I don't even know if you put this on your list.
It is on my honorable mentions list.
Okay. So it stars Chris Pine and a handful of other people. That guy, Justice Smith, he's in a lot of stuff, but he is not a good
elf?
actor. Yes.
Yeah, I just saw
he's
him
in
something.
that
He's
movie. That's
going to be in the magical movie.
Yeah, the magical. I can say it.
Yeah.
The magical.
The Society
of Magical Negroes.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't think that guy is a good actor. He's kind of irritating. He was in the Jurassic World films, and he just plays the same fucking character and everything. He's always like the Michael Cera or like the. Not even Michael Cera, because Michael Cera has charisma. This kid is just like, I don't know, the quintessential. I'm quirky, but I'm a good-hearted, trying to get the girl kind of guy. I don't know, whatever. I'm going.
I didn't mind him. He
guy.
was a dorky character, but overall, I like the band of misfits that we get.
It was just a lot of fun, though.
It has a lot of fun with the Dungeons and Dragons concept.
Yes. There's a lot of I love the stuff with like the monsters. They have like the gelatinous cube
There's the
monster.
gelatinous cube monster. There is. Do you remember when they cast a spell, the bard spell?
Yes.
Where they think he's like playing music, and he approaches the guards, and then he just like slowly melts and gets to deform because they're fucking up the spell.
Once the dead man is revived, we can ask him 5 questions, at which point he will die again, never to be re-revived.
Were you killed in the Battle of the Everhorse?
Yes.
4 more questions, right?
Yes.
No, that wasn't for you. Did that count as a question?
Yes.
Damn it. Only answer when I talk to you, okay?
Yes. Why did you say okay at the end of that? I didn't.
Fantastic. Where's the shovel?
But yeah, Dungeons and Dragons is just a lot of fun. It kind of harkens back to like the 2011. You know, you got these shitty. I mean, I guess it's comedy. This is a comedy essentially, but you have these like I'm thinking like Clash of the Titans or something really goofy where it like takes like this mythology and then they make it uber serious. But also like with this, it's like more comedic in tone. I just think that it was really well made. It wasn't, again, like kind of like the Mario movie. It wasn't anything to really write home about. But it's like, if there's a sequel to this, I'll definitely go and check it out. Because it was just a really well made film. It was a lot of fun. Kind of turn your brain off and just have a good time.
And it feels like it could do the like member berries checklist in a clever way.
Yeah.
Because like I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons like person, but I know enough about like the game and concept for me to be like, oh, they're definitely pulling ideas like directly from like like there's moments that happen where you're like, this person failed a dice roll, basically.
Yeah.
Like you can tell in the background. So
I'm glad they didn't do the thing where they cut at the end to a group of people sitting at the table and playing the game.
Made it Stranger Things, kids.
Yeah, yeah. That wouldn't have been clever at all.
No, it serves its fans, but it's also just like a lighthearted good time that anyone can enjoy.
I didn't feel like shit after. And that's something nowadays.
Yeah,
You know
there
what I
are
mean?
some movies. I'm looking at you, Ant-Man Quantumania, that can try to have this tone. Ant-Man wanted to be like sort of an epic sci-fi family comedy.
Yeah.
And it was a total flop at that.
Yeah.
This rides that line perfectly.
Well, it had characters you actually like.
Uh-huh.
And so, I don't know.
And then they use all their strengths, because they're all different character classes, together to get them through the various situations, just like you would do in a Dungeons & Dragons campaign.
Right. It was just, it was very, they kind of struck gold with this concept. So I think it was really, really well made. Definitely check it out if you haven't. Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Okay, so we'll be too late for this Christmas, but maybe come around next Christmas. The Holdovers, starring Paul Giamatti. Okay. It's sort of a Christmas movie. It is set at Christmas. It's basically Paul Giamatti is a teacher at like a boarding high school for like, you know, rich kids, and he gets stuck with the task of taking care of the holdovers, the kids that didn't get picked up for winter break, and he has to like take care of them over that break period. And then it just becomes about basically him and this one kid, because all the other kids end up disappearing halfway through the movie because of reasons. It's just really heartfelt, and it's a big like, I think it's like a 70s homage. Like they even have old school logos, and there's all this film grain on it, and it's like really just, it's another one of those like, hey, they don't make them like they used to. Right. Type of movie where you can just watch it and it's not gonna like, it's mostly cliches. It did subvert my expectations a couple times, but it is not like super deep, but it's heartwarming and it's cute. Yeah. And I had a good time.
There was an incident when I was at Harvard with my roommate. And? He accused me of copying from his senior thesis, plagiarizing. Well, did you? No, he stole from me. That blue-blooded prick's family had allies on the faculty. I mean, their last name is on a library, for Christ's sake. So he accused me in order to sanitize his treachery, and they threw me out.
Hey, so you got kicked out of Harvard for cheating?
No, I got kicked out of Harvard for hitting him.
You hit him? What, like punched him out?
Nope, I hit him with a car.
You got kicked out of Harvard for hitting a guy with a car?
By accident. Pint of Jim Beam, please. But he broke 3 ribs, which was technically his fault because he shouldn't have been in the road. $2, please. Also, he shot himself, which was the greater indignity.
Here you go, killer.
I have one from earlier this year, Extraction 2, which was a Netflix original.
Speaking of Chris's.
Yes, Chris Hemsworth is our leading man. And I actually wrote a letterbox review for this. I said the entire movie is about as ridiculous as a Call of Duty campaign, and I kind of loved it. It's absolute over-the-top action. There's this one scene that stands out to me the most, and it's pretty fucking awesome, where they are getting chased by a helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Hemsworth grabs out a fucking minigun and just starts spraying the shit out of this helicopter. And it's like all like the whole movie is shot like a one shot.
One helo, one Silver.
Copy.
And there's this really impressive scene in the prison where there's just all the shit going on. And I think there are some cuts, but they shoot it in a way where it looks like it's just one long take. And there's so many extras and so many like things, explosions happening, gunfire. It's really impressive. And it was, again, like Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. It was just a lot of fun. It was something I could really just kind of turn my brain off to. It's not like it is kind of like a John Wick film. I think the John Wick films have a little bit more substance to it.
I think even a little more style. Those are
Yes.
those are classier joints. These are like, this is like the big brother of like some home YouTube, like some like YouTube video that like a stunt choreographer does on his own time.
Yeah.
Because I think the director of this is a stunt coordinator and stuntman.
Right.
So it feels that way, and so is John Wick. But this one, like John Wick has the like all the like Euro flair, and it's like classy, and it's neon lit, and it's like
And the great soundtrack.
it's a great soundtrack, and
Yeah.
it's like so slick. And this one's more like, hey kids, you ever play Call of Duty?
Literally, I mean, it's like a video game. It's literally like you're going on missions.
The train sequence feels like a Call of Duty mission.
Yes.
And you take it like he deals with it just like you wouldn't Call of Duty, like Chopper, get the minigun.
I mean, it's honestly though, like I think there's a time and place for these types of films, especially if they're very well made. It was like our good friend Bonko would say, it was fucking badass, bro. It was cool.
Shout out to oh no, what's his name? Suicide Squad guy. He just shows up for a minute. Idris Elba.
Yes.
Just popping in.
Wow, you think of him as Suicide Squad guy?
I mean,
he's in so much more. He's in the fucking Wire.
That's true. This is just the most recent thing I can think of him in.
Sexy black guy.
Idris Elba. He was the villain in with Chris Pine in Star Trek Beyond.
He was also in a terrible movie about a lion this year that I forgot to put on my list.
Beast?
Yes. The movie was awful.
Idris Elba is one of the classiest men that I find constantly in bad movies.
I'm surprised I think he was in talks to play James Bond at one point.
He's too old now.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of like a black Jason Statham to him, where he just shows up in movies that are kind of shit to be the star. You know?
Yeah.
But you're like, this fucker's cool. I like him.
He's almost like a Denzel in that way.
Yeah, but Denzel ups the ante a little more. He can't carry. I don't think Idris Elba carries these movies.
It depends on the type of movie.
Yeah.
I think Idris Elba does better in TV.
Yeah.
So
he was on that show Luther for forever.
He was on Luther. He was also on The Office for a while.
Oh yeah.
He was the really anal boss or whatever that would come
when they were looking for a new boss, right?
Yeah, and then when Michael started his own paper company. Yeah. That's the second time I mentioned The Office this episode.
Kayla knows a lot about The Office.
Indeed.
So there's a lot of bad movies based on corporate products. Air. Don't like it. I'll be talking about it in the hate it section. Flaming Hot, the Hot Cheetos origin story.
What?
It's a Hulu original.
Oh no.
Trash. The one good one was
Is that about the way he was like a janitor?
Yeah.
And he just like put some.
He was like
hot powder.
He was like, Mexicans love chiles, huh? It's fucked up. It's fucked up, and I'll talk about it more, especially considering what the real story is. But the one I approve of is Blackberry, which came out very early in the year. It's starring Jay Baruchel and Glenn Howerton. Jay Baruchel, you've seen him in like he's in like This Is the End. He was along with like Seth Rogen and stuff.
Yes.
And then Glenn Howerton, he's on It's Always Sunny. He's the one that's not Charlie Day and not the gay guy and not Danny DeVito.
Okay.
Glenn Howerton, I didn't even realize it was him because he's in a bald cap. It's like he's insane. Like plays this like CEO power broker, and he has this scene where he buys his way into BlackBerry. BlackBerry is a mess. Isn't even BlackBerry when he buys it. It's a whole mess. You know, we kind of have it's like our classic like Scorsese mob movie arc where it's like we reach our top and then iPhone come and then
slow descent.
Like the slow descent is when the iPhone like announcement comes out and they don't have an answer to that. But in the meantime, this Glenn Howerton's character is going to like he wants to buy an NHL team. He's trying to buy like the Islanders or something.
When did the other owners even get... I'm sorry, what changed here, man?
The owners did not find you to be of good character and integrity.
I don't know what the hell that means. Gary, what the fuck is this?
You know, it's funny. It's one thing to have a secret plan to fuck over the NHL and move a team to Canada. It's another thing to brag to your rich friends before you actually do it.
Oh, you guys are so fucking stupid. You know what? Maybe I'll buy this whole fucking league. Huh? How about that?
Don, can we see that Mr. Bald Silly gets safely back to Canada?
Oh, fuck all you people! Fuck you! Get ready for a hostile takeover of this entire fucking league, okay? You fuck! You think I won't fucking do it? I'm from Waterloo, where the vampires hang out!
They and his plan is to like buy them and secretly move them to somewhere in Canada, like to Montreal or something. And they get wind of this and they block his deal. The league owners block his deal, and he like has this hilarious meltdown where he's like, "I'm from fucking Waterloo, where the vampires live." Like,
what? That's like a Nick Cage line.
Like he is insane and unhinged, and it's really entertaining.
Okay.
It's fun, and then I love that it is the like corporate descent where like the just the arc and the downfall of everything is very real, and it's very like it shows the pros and cons of everything going on, and sort of like the guy left holding the bag is Jay Baruchel, who's like the founder and the guy that's, you know, been trying to drive and keep this thing afloat between the sort of tensions between this best friend he has and the CEO Glenn Howerton character. It's just really well done. It's like entertaining, and I guess they've turned it into a mini series and added more scenes and put it on I think AMC. So there's a way like expanded version of it you can watch as like a 4-hour mini series or something. It's really good. It's kind of it's just well written mostly.
I have a really hard time with films like that. I mean, I can watch biopics. I mean, technically Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, all of Martin Scorsese stuff, technically biopics.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a hard time with like the consumer movies where it's like, this is a product that we're trying so hard to fucking ship out. Thinking about the movie Air, that's one big reason why I didn't watch it, because it's just like, this is all just corporate bullshit, and I know what they're trying to do. They're just trying to sell more shoes with this movie.
Well, that's the thing that makes BlackBerry, I think, safe is A, BlackBerry's a defunct company that's not selling you shit. And also, like, it's very aware of how, like, shitty, like one thing Air never talks about is where all these shoes are produced in sketchy conditions.
Right.
But they have a long discussion because the Jay Baruchel's character does not want BlackBerries ever to be made outside of America. And then one day the deadline, you know, comes up and it's like, we either shutter or we, you know, make these fuckers in China.
Yeah.
And those fuckers were made in China.
Yeah.
So it's fully aware of that. And it's not like as cynical as those. And it's like entertaining. It's funny. It's kind of like, what's the Facebook movie, The Social Network?
Social Network.
So it's like Social Network meets meets Air, but in a good way, where it's like it just has it's funnier. It's way funnier than The Social Network. Like it's a pretty funny movie, especially in the first 2/3. Okay. It's got like a lighthearted, jokey kind of like, aren't these tech guys quirky tone?
Yeah.
That is good. You ready?
Yes. So I have a horror movie I would like to talk about. Came out this past fall, I believe. It is called Cobweb.
Oh wait, I was gonna go. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Cobweb.
I thought that's what you were going with.
No.
It's okay. It's okay. You just ruined it.
I wasn't gonna do all that. I was doing a little too much. But the movie, which also kind of Cobweb does, does a little too much towards the end. Cobweb is it's a great horror film until it isn't.
It came out the same week as we were talking about Barbie and Oppenheimer burying things. This is one of the movies it buried.
Oh yes. Okay, I was thinking because of the Halloween theme in this film that it came out during the fall.
No, it came out same week as Barbie.
Okay, so I watched this recently. It stars
Anthony Starr? Yes. Is that what you're going to say?
Yes. It stars Anthony Starr, which is best known for Homelander in the Boys series. Fantastic actor. He's creepy as fuck in this. Also, Lizzie Kaplan.
Yeah, as the mom.
And I know her from Mean Girls. She was in that a long time ago. And then Woody Norman as Peter. And this is a big year for this kid. He was also in the last voyage of the Demeter. Fine actor, fine young actor. He's okay. He's great.
Yeah, he's really good for a kid.
Yeah, I think he's got a promising career. But it follows this kid where he's living in this house. He's with his parents. He's an only child, it seems. But he's kind of got some weird stuff going on in this house. His parents are a little weird, a little creepy. Kind of gave me Coraline vibes.
Mm-hmm.
They're very overbearing. It seems like the father is abusive.
Peter drew a picture for school.
What?
I'm sorry. I know that I should have told you earlier.
Hold on.
But
What kind of picture? What kind of picture, Carol?
A child. A child asking for help.
What?
I knew that you would jump to
You're
conclusions.
only telling me this
No,
now?
that's just not possible. It's what I tell you about. Just a...
Stop. Peter, why would you draw a picture like that? Peter!
Does it really hurt her?
No, you did not! No! You're grounded.
Okay, Peter, go to your room.
No! Carol, he's grounded! He's going in the basement. Now.
And that not only does he affect the child, but he also affects the mother. And then you find out later on there's some very sinister things going on with the parents.
He starts hearing voices coming out of his wall,
Yes.
his bedroom wall.
And so we're thinking going into this is going to be a spooky ghost movie. But no, it's not.
Spoilers for Cobweb?
Yes.
It's there's a kid in the wall. There's a monster in the wall.
Yeah.
Movie.
Yeah. It's one of those.
And that monster's goofy.
Yeah, it's goofy as fuck compared to the tone of this movie.
Yeah.
Because I thought tonally this movie was great. It had this really nice Halloween-y feel to it. And it was very dark, but not too dark.
Mm-hmm.
It did do that thing that I really shit on, what's his face for? Guy who made the Conjuring films.
James Wan.
James Wan, or Spooky House. Spooky House scares me.
Yeah. It is a big spooky house, but it's also like I think stylishly drawn, where it's like drawn from like the kid's perspective, so everything just seems bigger. Like his room just seems so large, and the walls are so tall,
and it
like,
really seems dark at night.
Yeah, and everything just seems like cavernous and big, just the way everything does when you're a kid.
Right, and yeah, it almost feels like a dream in that aspect, or a nightmare. And
no spoilers, but the dinner scene,
yes,
crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's really when the movie takes a turn.
For sure. I thought the actress that played the teacher, Miss Devine, was awful. Her name is Cleopatra Coleman, and she was terrible. and she had no real reason to be in this film. She kept, number one, so I've worked in schools for a long time.
Real nosy.
You don't just show up to a student's house. You don't invite yourself into the student's house. You don't have side conversations with a kid unless you really see signs of abuse. This lady was unprofessional as fuck. She should not be a teacher. She shouldn't be anywhere near children. She was very incompetent. She kept putting herself in danger. And, yeah. I had big problems with the teacher in this film.
Those teachers need to mind their business.
Let's talk about the final act real quick. The final act, there's some bullies at school, or there's one bully kid who like breaks our main character's pumpkin. He's constantly like beating him up, pushing him down, whatever. So this kid finally snaps and pushes the kid down the stairs, and the kid gets really hurt. The bully kid gets really hurt. It's like broken leg or something. And so he's out on Halloween night and with his evil cousins or something. Or
He's an older brother, I think.
Yeah, but these kids were like the it kids, where they were just like super awful and willing to murder somebody.
Stand by me type bullies.
Yeah, real Stephen King-esque. But so they do a home invasion on this kid's house, and they're like walking around the house with baseball bats, looking for this kid, trying to murder him. Because I guess that's what kids in this town do. So there's something going on. Our main character finds a door in the attic, and the whole time this voice in the wall has been saying, "I'm actually your sister, and I witnessed our parents murder a child, and they locked me up for it." And so he opens the door, and turns out the sister is some spider monster thing.
Well, it is his sister.
Yeah,
but I guess because she's lived in the darkness so long, she learned how to defy gravity and crawl on the ceiling.
She crawls, like, she got really long limbs and has a weird fugly face with sharp teeth. I guess that's what happens when you're locked away for so long. It was very bizarre, and it lost me completely.
Same twist as the ending of Beau is Afraid.
Yeah, yeah, weird, creepy monster thing in the attic.
Also gave me very, like, when I watched it, I was like, oh, this is like Barbarian, where the answer to what is under all this is a little like, okay.
It's like an incest monster. But it was funny, though, because the monster goes on a rampage and murders all these kids. And it's the most, like, gruesome shit. But yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, those kids only showed up to be slaughtered,
which was hilarious.
Yeah,
so
there's just a little bit of a tone shift, and the first two acts don't really match the third.
No,
and they show way too much of this freaky creature's face.
It would have been more better if Anthony Starr was the villain the entire time. Him like walking around the house stalking the kid, or like, utilize him. He's a great actor.
We'll be getting plenty of that in The Boys season 4.
Where he acts like an asshole again.
I'll stick on the horror theme, and I think you watched this one too. No One Will Save You, the Alien Invasion Hulu original.
Yes. Totally forgot to put that on my list, but yes.
Again, pretty good. I think it's kind of got the same deal for me, where I like it for the most part, but there's like one factor that holds it back. And for me, that factor was that our protagonist is a silent protagonist.
Yes.
And there are moments where that makes sense, and there are moments where that stops making sense.
Yeah.
Because it's not like she literally cannot form words. It's not like she's like dying. Like,
I almost feel like that was like a studio decision where they started out where like this girl's going to be mute because she went through some trauma growing up.
Yeah.
And then they just dropped that idea completely.
It just needed a little more dialogue from her. And then I thought it was a little corny that I guess... Spoilers for No One Will Save You. Well, hold on. Before I get to spoilers, I do recommend it. It is a good alien movie. I like the aliens.
Yes.
And the alien design, and that there is some variety.
They're very malevolent in this. And, like, yeah.
They're creepy. They're otherworldly. They have this, like, suspension beam where they can just, like...
Yes.
Trap you in the light beam, and you're unable to move, which is a classic, like, UFO trope, but you don't often see that translated to
well, you don't get
much.
these. I don't want to say realistic, but like this is like your classic like gray alien shit.
Yeah.
And I'm a big alien guy, so I enjoyed this for that. I like that they were actually intelligent because it's like most films are like I'm thinking, what's the big one with Will Smith?
Independence
Day. I'm thinking about the second Independence Day that came out, and these things are like monsters but they're intergalactic species of alien that can fly ships. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad that they stuck to like intelligent aliens.
That's a movie where Judd Hirsch drove a bunch of kids across the desert in a school bus.
Yes.
Drove them directly to Area 51.
That movie was awful. But yeah, I think the last half of this movie was really well done. I think the scene where she gets beamed up onto the ship, and there's just like this effect of like when they shoot her back down, like space distorts and stuff. And I was like, this shit is awesome looking. It looks really good, and the aliens look awesome. Yeah, some great cinematography. Yeah, this actress, she's not real well known. I don't remember her name off the top, but she was fine for
Caitlin Dever.
Okay,
is her name.
She's been in stuff before. I've seen her face before, but I think she did well with the material that she was given for the most part, and definitely check it out.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is, now spoilers for No One Will Save You. I found it a little corny that they were like, this girl's so broken, we'll just bring her back and not fuck with her. Like the aliens were like, we care or we empathize.
You would think they wouldn't have empathy.
You're so sad and broken or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it was all literally to get to the last scene, which was cool, is when she like happily returns to town and like has a dance and is like a little more open person. But everyone in that town in a very like, this is a very like Twilight Zone-y ending. Everyone that's left in that town are these like alien drones, because the aliens will like take you and they just kind of like
they pacify you.
They pacify you, turn you into like a little mind control puppet and let you walk around town again.
Yeah, it's not like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's a little bit different, and I thought that was interesting. I didn't really like the ending as much as you, but thought it was fine.
I think I only have a couple more. I can get through them quickly. Oh, is The Killer on your main list?
Killer is on my good, not great.
Good, not great list. The Killer, another Netflix exclusive.
Yeah, I think
Netflix
we mentioned this a couple episodes ago.
Original about assassin who's not as competent at his job as he thinks he is.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's a little up his own ass. That's for sure.
He's very clinical. It's kind of like a great joke that it wasn't funny in the moment, but in hindsight, that we like spend like 30 minutes with this guy, and he's just plotting his assassination. He's planned every moment. He's like, I don't take the shot unless my heart beats below 60 beats per minute.
Yeah.
You know,
I always hit my mark.
all this. And he does. After 30 minutes, we watch him go through a whole day. Takes a shot. Fucking biffs it, and that's really how the movie starts.
Yeah, he's kind of like constantly botching his jobs.
There's the scene where he's like, where he confronts the guy in the office. He has a staple gun. He staples him in the chest, gruesome, and then he's like, and you hear him in his little, because there's constant monologue from his head that you hear him. He's like,
I need that information, Edward. And you're running out of time. Fuck you.
3 9-gauge nails. Early middle-aged non-smoker. About 180 pounds. Should last 6-7 minutes.
Shit.
Because the guy's bleeding out.
Yeah, he's like, male, middle-aged, approximately 180 pounds. That gives him about 6 to 7 minutes. And then we see the guy just like croak in front of him, and he goes, oh.
Yeah. I kind of saw it too, and I thought this was interesting, because I kind of saw it as like a man at the end of his rope, but he's too prideful to admit it. And like he wants to be done. You can tell he's tired. I wish that was a little bit more fleshed out. But yeah, it kind of just seems like he's been doing this for a long time. He's getting sick of it. He wants to really like settle down and like live legit. He's got this giant fucking house in Dominican Republic, of all places. I don't know why.
Because it's cheap to live there.
I guess. That would not be my first go-to. But and he's trying, and then something happens with his wife where there's some like I think it's because he botched that first job.
Yeah.
There's some guys go and they beat her up real bad, which was like, damn, that shit was fucked up. But my favorite scene was when he home invades some guy to murder him, and he gets his fucking ass whooped. Like,
Yeah.
And you can feel every fucking punch. This shit was fucking. My adrenaline was going in that scene. It was a great scene. Yeah, and then Tilda Swinton makes an appearance, and she's great. She's just an amazing actress. She's great in everything.
And I thought it kind of petered out. I didn't really like the ending. It was just kind of like, all right.
I don't even really remember the ending.
I won't spoil it, I guess, if we don't need to. But and then there is another like element to it that I think is sort of a background thing where it's kind of commenting on consumerism and the way these like ease of access things also kind of like dehumanize and separate us. Like he's constantly in like Airbnbs picking stuff up out of like Prime drop boxes and like he goes to McDonald's and he like removes the bun of his Egg McMuffin. He's like, where else are you gonna get 40 grams of protein for $3.99? like he's like all these like ease of access materials and all the like just sort of modern consumerist culture. He's able to like just make his way through life completely detached from everyone, but still like comfortable, and it aids him in his hitman business.
That's interesting. That's a really deep take. I don't think I realized that when I first watched it. But
okay, I got 3 more. 2 of them I can tie together. Nick Cage movies. We got Sympathy for the Devil, which is Nick Cage riding through Las Vegas. I talked about it a little bit a couple episodes ago. It is the best Nick Cage performance. Maybe not the best, the most fun. He's unhinged. He's crazy. It's him and Joel Kinnaman, who you might know from The Killing or Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad, whichever one's which. He's in both of them. Traps him in the back of a car, if you've ever seen Collateral. It's a lot like that.
Yep.
Idea crazy.
No idea. Do not fucking interrupt me! God damn it! I told you that in the car! You always run off at the mouth! You got a motor mouth! There's a motorboat stuck in your mouth! Just shut up! Sit the fuck back down!
Towards the end, sort of the answers to the mystery of why this is all happening are kind of like whack, and maybe not even whack, just kind of by the numbers and whatever. But just watching, there's about 30 minutes in the middle where he's at a diner and Nick Cage is just acting a fool the whole time, and it's very, very watchable, very entertaining. And then the other one is Dream Scenario, where Nick Cage plays a professor who suddenly starts popping up in everyone's dreams, and overnight becomes like a internet celebrity, and everyone wants to know him. And then the things in his dream start taking a darker turn, and he becomes like a social pariah, and he kind of gets canceled, quote unquote. And it's got a little commentary, and it's got a little heart, and it's got a little fun. It is not, I don't know, it's like not quite a 5-star movie, but it's well made. It's an A24 joint. Nick Cage is a little more reserved, but he's still like a lot of fun as this like, as you see him kind of like embrace this, because he's a man that, so one of the things about him is he says, oh, I'm writing a book, but he hasn't written a fucking word. But he plans to write a book, but he's never written a book. But as soon as he gets famous, he wants to like get with someone, and he's like, I'm trying to sell my book. And they're like, okay, do you have a like manuscript? He's like, well, I haven't started it yet. And they're like, you want us? And Michael Cera is one of the people that he's meeting with. Oh, gosh. They're like, yeah, can we do something? Like, they're like just a regular marketing company. So they're like, yeah, can we just like, we're thinking you can have you with like some Sprite cans, and like it'll be like I'm dreaming about Sprite, and maybe we can get people to dream about Sprite with you, you know, like marketing. And he's like, I don't really want to do that. And he's like, yeah, I'm trying to write a book. And he's like I don't remember. He's like some sort of like biology professor. And he like tells them his field, and they're all like, what is that, like about rocks or something? So okay, so your rock book, but also can we do the Sprite thing? Like, and it's like, it's got a good commentary. It's one of the first movies that I think really kind of understands like the modern internet culture in a way, without being like totally cringe about it.
From what we know, the camouflage isn't effective in terms of blending in with the environment. Rather, it's about blending in with the herd. You see, predators need to identify their prey. They can't just attack the whole group. So if you stick your head out, you make yourself a target. Does that make sense? Hi. Hey. Focus.
This is how it went?
No, it's different now.
Do you want to share your discussion with the class?
Sorry, no.
Okay, because you just made yourselves a target by speaking when you weren't supposed to. You get the analogy?
I get the analogy.
Okay, good. So in contrast, can anyone think of instances where sticking out can be an evolutionary benefit? Yes.
Mating?
Mating.
You know what movie kind of tried to do that? But again,
Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
no, I'm thinking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem.
Turtles in a half shell.
And I talked a little bit about this in a previous video, but it is a very well-made animated film, much in the same vein as the Spider-Verse movies, animation-wise. It is a movie that is partially made by Seth Rogen. I know Seth Rogen is really big into Ninja Turtles, and he's been wanting to make this movie for a long time. I think for a while they were planning to do this live action, but then they decided that animation is the best route to go. Something interesting about the voice work for this is that they had the kids the majority of the time. So these are actual teenagers who are voicing the Ninja Turtles, and the majority of the time they had them all in the same room recording together. And that doesn't really happen too much with actors because of scheduling issues, different things like that, budgetary reasons, etc. But these kids were all together. The majority of the time they really created a bond together, and a lot of the dialogue is actually improv, and you can really tell in the film, and that's not a negative. I think that they had a lot of chemistry together, and the voice work was phenomenal, especially for these young actors who have never really done this kind of work before. They just really played off each other well. They did do this thing, and there's some of the writing is a little choppy with like we're adults, but we're trying to write for teenagers. Mm-hmm. And you can tell when it's improv and when it's not, because when it's improv, it comes off very natural, and the kids are really riffing off each other, and they sound like teenagers of this age, right. You know? And so I thought that aspect was pretty interesting. Some of the dialogue can be a little cringe, but there's some great characters, just a lot of fun. Jackie Chan plays Master Splinter, and he's got some great lines. He's a fun character. All the Ninja Turtles are great. Yep, Ice Cube as Superfly. He was great in this as well. Paul Rudd is in it as Mondo Gecko, something like that. And yeah, it's just the movie is fun. It's not Spider-Verse, but it does its own thing, and I think the animation style is really interesting because it almost looks like a children's drawing. And if you notice, the human characters all look like mutants. They all look fucked up. And then the Ninja Turtles themselves, they look cute. And they look, this and that. So I thought that was an interesting dynamic because you're more so looking through the eyes of the Ninja Turtles, how they see the world and how different they are from society, and them trying to, like, the coming of age of them trying to, like, join into society. I know, like, a big thing with the Ninja Turtles, they're always in the shadows. But in this, it's different because at the end, spoiler, like, they're actually going to high school. And so that's interesting, and I think in a sequel, them actually doing the high school thing could be a lot of fun.
I'll do the talking. Hey, I'm a gangster. I got my puff and my Timbs. I need my bacon, egg, and cheese, too. You got the good Superfly?
Bacon, egg, and cheese. Bacon, egg, and cheese. Let me get a bacon, egg, and cheese. Bacon, egg, and cheese. Yo, let me get that bacon, egg, and cheese.
With the bed? With the bed, y'all. We outside.
You heard?
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna help people like you, just being honest.
It feels like a combo of that because like the art style is kind of just like it's like grimy and wet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's got that sheen to it.
Whereas like if you think of like the Ninja Turtles show, it was very clean. Like it was one of those clean classic '90s animations. So yeah, this one's it's good. I agree. It wasn't on my or on this list, but it's a good one. I have one final runner-up, and then we can get to our next episode, which is... Oh, yeah. It's Thanksgiving, the Eli Roth joint. Now, let me tell you, it's a hell of a good time. Watch it next Thanksgiving. You don't even necessarily need to watch it on Thanksgiving, but it'll probably hit harder at Thanksgiving. It's so goofy. It's like, in the first, 5 minutes, there's, a big line lineup. Like there's just a total mob erupting at like the local like, you know, whatever the local big box store is called, I forget. And there's like 2 security guards, and they're just like, "Hey, everybody, calm the fuck down." And some guy in the front of the line's like, "Get out my way, lady." And she's like, "Suck my dick." and like everybody's just insane. And there's a riot that is like becomes like, you know, it's Black Friday. Black because it was a horrific thing, you know. And then
Still horrific.
We pick up next Thanksgiving as sort of like a Scream type movie where there's a bunch of teen characters, and then there's a killer behind a mask that we're trying to slowly whodunit.
Is he called the Pilgrim?
No, he's called John Carver.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
After a real pilgrim.
Yeah.
It's a great name.
It's pretty hilarious.
There's a twisted Thanksgiving feast that happens at the end of the movie.
So nice to all be together again on Thanksgiving. And joining us, our guest of honor, Thomas Wright, who missed last year's fun sitting in his mansion. Now, we're all going to go around the table and say what we're thankful for. You're on live, so choose your words wisely. Evan. Most appropriate that you go first.
Pretty gross, pretty grimy, pretty funny. There's also just a lot of satirical humor there's a lot of satirical humor in movies in general this year. Some of it I'm really sick of now, but in this movie, like, there's a really funny scene where you cut to like a classroom. This guy's like, "And that's why I'm never gonna celebrate Thanksgiving again." And then he lifts his shirt up to show his perfect abs and dab his tears. So great movie, hell of a good time. I think if I wanted to be like really Michael Core and just be like, I'm just watching the movies that Michael thinks rocks, it would have made the list.
Yeah, you're really big into slasher films.
This slasher was I saw the trailer and I was like, if this trailer delivers what it's promising, this is going to be right up my fucking alley. And it did. I was afraid that it was going to like, all the fun stuff was in the trailer or whatever, but it was not. It was a good time. And it was great to see in the theater. I'm so glad I saw that.
We're getting a lot more holiday themed films recently. I know there was like Bad Santa last year.
Violent Night.
And now, it's just...
there was a new Silent Night, Deadly Night or something? The new John Woo movie?
Yeah, I'm like, what is this, the 1980s? It's kind of interesting.
So yeah, that long-ass meandering list is our honorable mentions of the year.
Yep.
These are all good movies.
Yes.
Still. And there are more to come. So, tune in next week for our top movies of the year lists. Bye.
Bye.